Welcome, everybody, to another Peace Seekers episode. If you're unfamiliar with Peace Seekers, if your first time tuning in, we have been reading through the so-called Apocrypha, and we started out with the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs, and we have moved on to the Book of Enoch. Now, unlike the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs, I have read the Book of Enoch before, and it was actually a pretty big, change in my life. So I'm revisiting it. We're going to be reading it in sections as we did kind of the Testament of 12 Patriarchs, though it will be a little bit different as we kind of have to separate it differently because the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs, that was 12 episodes. It made perfect sense. This way we got to kind of segregate it, and we'll get into that as we get into it. But I'd like to say hello, everybody. Shalom. I hope y'all are all having a great start to y'all's week, and I hope y'all had a wonderful Sabbath. We had a great episode last night. It was a great mixture of an episode because we got a little bit of humor, a little bit of a good amount of gravy, and what did we say last night? A giant grain of salt, of Himalayan salt, exactly. But anyways, kind of inside jokes from the episode. If you're interested, check it out. But anyways, so let's get into it. So I'm gonna just pull it up. We're gonna get the reading started. For those interested, I am doing this. I am reading the Book of Enoch from sacred-text.com. It is a great resource for the Apocrypha, and if you want to learn about the other religions out there and see how similar they all are, and just coincidentally, but we're focusing on the Apocrypha, more specifically the Book of Enoch. And last episode, we read from chapter 1 to chapter 5. And here we will be reading from chapter 6 to chapter 11. And it has a little brief summary here. It says, the fall of the angels, the demoralization of mankind, the intercession of the angels on behalf of mankind, the dooms pronounced by God on the angels, the Messianic Kingdom, a Noah fragment. And this is chapter 6, and I'm going to get a quick drink of my coffee and get to reading. So, one moment. Alrighty. Chapter 6. And it came to pass, when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. I'm gonna just roll with however my mind wants to say these. I am not saying these are correct, so don't take my pronunciation as the official. I'm just gonna kind of shoot from the hip. So, anyways, okay. And this is before I go too much further, I'm gonna post this in chat. I'm glad I remembered. If you're interested in reading along, you will have this. Just click the link. That will open up the exact page that you're seeing. If for whatever reason it's hard to see this. And, let's go ahead and make this as big as we can make it. There we go. Put me over here on the left side. Okay, so it wants to lock right there. Okay. Sweet. Okay, let's get back into it. We are on verse 3. And Simjazah, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations. I want, for whatever reason, that word just doesn't look right to me. Anyways, let us all swear an oath and bind ourselves by mutable imprecation, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then swear they all together and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And they were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon. Wow. That's totally from being Utah. Who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon. And they called it Mount Hermon because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecation upon it. And these were all their names of their leaders. Samayaz, their leader, Arabaka, Ramel, Kokrabal, Tamael, Ramael, Daniel, Ezekiel, Baruchiel, Aziel, Amarios, Baratel, Ananel, Zachiel, Samzabel, Sapel, oh my god, Samsapel, Sartarel, Turel, Jomjael, Syrael. These are the chiefs of the tens. Chapter 7. And all the others together with them took unto them wives, and each chose for himself one. And they began to go in unto them, and to defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms and enchantments, and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants, whose heights was 3,000 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against the birds and the beasts and the reptiles and the fish, and to devour one another's flesh, and to drink the blood. Then the earth laid acquisition against the lawless ones. Chapter 8. And Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments and the use of anatomy, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and of all costs, and all kinds of costly stones, and all coloring tinctures. And all coloring tinctures. And there arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray, and became corrupt in all their ways. And Simjaz taught enchantments and root cuttings, and Amros the resolving of enchantments. Barkajal taught astrology, Kobael the constellations, Kokabel the constellations, Ezekiel the knowledge of the clouds, Arachiel the signs of the earth, Shamzael the signs of the sun, and Sariel the course of the moon. And as men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven. Chapter 9. And then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all the lawless being wrought upon the earth. And they said one to another, the earth made without inhabitant cries the voice of their cries. Without inhabitant cries the voice of their crying up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make their suit, saying, bring our cause before the Most High. And they said to the Lord of the ages, Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings, and God of the ages, the throne of thy glory standeth unto all generations of the ages. and thy name holy and glorious and blessed unto all the ages. Thou hast made all things, and power over all things hast thou. And all things are naked and open in thy sight. And thou seest all things, and nothing can hide itself from thee. Thou seest what Azazel hath done, who hath taught all unrighteousness on the earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven, which men were striving to learn. And Semazel, to whom thou hast given authority to bear rule over his associates, and they have gone to the daughters of men upon the earth, and have slept with the women, and had defiled themselves, and revealed to them all kinds of sin. And the women have bore giants, and the whole earth has thereby been filled with blood and unrighteousness. And now behold, the souls of those who have died are crying and making their suits to the gates of heaven. And their lamentations have ascended, and cannot cease, because of the lawless deeds which are wrought on the earth. And thou knoweth all things before they come to pass. And thou seest these things, and thou dost suffer them. And thou dost not say to us, what are we to do to them in regard to these? Chapter 10. Then said the Most High, the Holy, and the Great One spake, and sent Uriel to the son of Lamech, and said to him, Go to Noah, and tell him in my name, hide thyself, and reveal to him the end that is approaching. Oh, I gotta take a drink. 1 second. Maybe 2 drinks, and I totally apologize. I sure hope like y'all have heard me this whole time. I'm muted in Discord, but I don't think that matters for y'all. Anyways, yeah, let's where are we at? And okay, all right. I'm gonna just start back at 2. No, Earth and delete. Oh, okay, that is okay. I get it. All right, let's go. Let me come back over here so that stops doing that. Okay. And reveal to him the end that is approaching, that the whole earth will be destroyed, and a deluge is about to come upon the whole earth, and it will destroy all that is on it. And now instruct him that he may escape, and his seed may be preserved for all the generations of the world. And again the Lord said to Raphael, Bind Azazel hand and foot, and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the desert which is in Dodiel, and cast him therein, and place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face that he may not see light. And on the day of the great judgment he shall be cast into the fire, and heal the earth which the angels have corrupted, and proclaim the healing of the earth, that they may heal the plague, and all that the children of men may not perish through all the secret things that the watchers have disclosed and have taught their sons. And the whole earth has been corrupted through the works that were taught by Azazel. To him ascribe all sin. And to Gabriel said the Lord. I'm going to restart that, and we're in 9. Let me scroll down a little bit. And if you're wondering, we're right here. And to Gabriel said the Lord, Proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication and the children of the watchers from amongst men, and cause them to go forth, send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle. For the length of days shall they have. Oh my gosh, that's just the wording. I apologize. For the length of days shall they not have. And no request that they or their fathers make of thee shall be granted unto their fathers on their behalf. For they hope to live an eternal life, and that each one of them will live 500 years. And the Lord said unto Michael, Go, bind Semjazah and his associates, who have nighted themselves with women, so as to defile themselves with them in all their uncleanliness. And when their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, till the day of their judgment and of their consummation, till the judgment that is forever and ever is consummated. In those days they shall be led off to the abyss of fire, and to the torment and the prison in which they shall be confined forever. And whosoever shall be condemned and destroyed will from henceforth be bound together with them to the end of all generations. And destroy all the spirits of the reprobate and the children of the watchers, because they have wronged mankind. Destroy all wrong from the face of the earth, and let every evil work come to an end. And let the plant of that's so much unrighteousness that that's just on my mind. And let the plant of righteousness and truth appear. And it shall prove a blessing that the works of righteousness and truth shall be planted in truth and joy forevermore. And then shall all righteous escape, and shall live until they beget thousands of children. In all the days of their youth and all their old age shall they complete in peace. And then shall the whole earth be tilled in righteousness, and shall all be planted with the trees, and be full of blessing. And all described trees shall be planted on it, and they shall plant vines on it, and the vines which they plant thereon shall yield wine in abundance. And as for all the seed which is And as for all the seed which is sown thereon, each measure of it shall bear 1,000. And each measure of olive shall yield 10 presses of oil. And cleanse thou the whole from all. Oh my gosh, why is it so hard? It's so hard, speaking so hard, reading so hard. Okay, sorry. And cleanse thou the whole. Oh my God, where am I getting the word whole from? It is not there. Does anyone see the word whole? I do not see the word whole. I keep seeing the word whole. I need to stop saying the word whole. Okay, let's get into it. And cleanse thou, oh my God, and cleanse thou the earth from all oppression, and from all unrighteousness, and from all sin, and from all godlessness, and all the uncleanliness that is wrought upon the earth, destroy from off the earth. And all the children of men shall become righteous, and all nations shall offer adoration and shall praise me, and all shall worship me, and the earth shall be cleansed from all defilement, and from all sin, and from all punishment, and from all torment. And I will never again send them upon it from generation to generation forever. Chapter 11. And in those days I will open the stored chambers of blessings which are in heaven, so as to send them down upon the earth over the work and labor of the children of men. And truth and peace shall be associated together throughout all the days of the world. and throughout all the generations of men. Sweet. All right. Well, that concludes part 2 of the reading. Let's see here. That's 15, yeah? No, 16. So next week we will be reading, let's check real quick. So it's 12, 13, 14, 15. So 5 chapters. Perfect. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna keep it close there. Let's give a little commentary on it. Let's back all the way to chapter 6. Almost there. I don't know if I clicked it too many times. Sure did. Okay, chapter 6. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I think this was totally not set up this way. I just love syncs and the way that God kind of shows up. Is last night we were literally talking about Nephilim and giants, and it just so happens that we were reading parts of this as part of last night's episode. And so it's kind of interesting how that works. Like, you know, we come up with these ideas, and I didn't know I was going to do Enoch. I didn't know how I was going to break it up until I started to do it. And so it's so cool. That's, you know, kind of off topic, but just wanted to share that sync with it. I love those type of things. Let's actually drop. Let me pull over here. Do I have to make this so... I don't know if I can. Yeah, it's not going to let me do it like that. Okay, let's just keep it like this. Okay, so yeah, so interesting that happened. And then, you know, all this right here, like, and we kind of got to this in the after show, and I'm going to kind of use some roundabout language to not expect, but we were talking about whether angels have human anatomies or not. And, you know, we talked about the fact that, you know, God, the angels were made in God's image, and we were made in their image, you know, in different parts. But, you know, and that we got the physical nature and the spiritual nature, you know, that's defined in Scripture. And so, but then people, you know, instantly say, well, if it's not a physical carbon-based, you know, life form, therefore it must be, you know, just a spiritual thing that it doesn't have a physical form. Therefore, why would it have a human anatomy? And we also, you know, so big, long conversation. If you're interested in having those kind of uncensored conversations off of YouTube where we can actually freely talk, check out the episodes that you may be, you know, that may be entertaining, may learn something. So check it out if you're interested. But anyways, back to this reading. So really interesting how a lot of these have this L, you know, L, so Yal, you know, that's close, L. Not all of them, but a lot of them have that L in the ending, which is obviously really interesting when we know that L is kind of, you know, associated with God in many different, you know, cultures. So that's pretty interesting. And it's also interesting here that it just names the leaders. These are the chiefs of their tens. And so, you know, it gives these, and last night we were talking about, like, do we know when they produce sons? Like, was this a designer, quote unquote, a designer baby? How was this actually taking place? Was there prenatal and postnatal care that was taking place to achieve these Nephilim, these giants? And through that, how did that process actually work? And did each of these leaders and their constituents, did they choose what they look like? Is this why some cultures have multiple arms? Why some cultures have reptiles? Why some cultures have, you know, different views of what these gods look like? Is that all cultural representation and cultural interpretation of cultural importance to each culture of why they depicted their gods that way? Or is it also, it's part that, but is it also that these descendants of these watchers looked different. They had different attributes. They had different amounts of arms or different looking looks to them. Very kind of interesting, kind of crazy. Clown salt, right? We were talking about, like maybe clowns eventually were derived from, the uglification of humans, and maybe that's one of these groups, or all, who knows, wanted to do those type of things, and that's why we have all these different gods and depictions of them in the past. So, and in different cultures. Let's keep chugging along. So this is obviously, we talked about, and we showed from the Investigating Babylon series last night, we showed where Sean's was talking about, I think it's episode 3, the science of the giants. So showing these things called gibberellums or something like that. I'm probably butchering it. That's kind of interesting. Gibberellums. It was like such a kind of interesting, close word together sounding word, and even spelt similarly. But anyways, that was really interesting. But, he directly talks about these, just think about the way that this is pointed out, because we obviously read through this, but it straight up says they chose wives, right? They taught them charms, enchantments, the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants, and they became pregnant. And Sean points that out, and I think that's such a good pointing out, right? And then quickly finish this out, right? As soon as they consumed all the acquisitions of men, so all the men that were on the earth in those days, they completely were subjugated and subservient to these beings. And it also kind of, we'll get into that a little bit later, where it talks about those who were reprobates, those who were of God, that basically changed themselves to become like these beings that they were seeing, these Nephilim, fallen angels, etc., that they were seeing. And then once men could no longer sustain them, they started doing it to the birds and the beasts and the reptiles and the fish, and to devour one another's flesh and to drink the blood. So they started, and this is going to be next episode, we're going to be talking about literally the birds and the beasts and the reptiles that were corrupted. We see it all throughout the cultures. We see it in so many different depictions. So, so useful information, giving us history that we never get. Okay, then, again, back to what I was just saying. So, boom, they teach enchantments. Let me just go back real quick so I don't butcher it. So they taught them charms, enchantments, cutting of roots, and made them known with plants, and they became pregnant, right? They did that whole thing, right? And then Azazel taught them to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates and all this other stuff. Now, what's really interesting is we'll go on. So all of this stuff, right, gave us all of this information, fire hose of information, trying to drink from a fire hose coming at you, right? And all of this caused all of these issues upon the earth. Now, okay, then we have this part, right? And so what's going on is basically the four archangels, the four beasts, are looking down at what's going on and like, oh my God, this is crazy. And they're seeing these the cries of men, of the souls of men, saying, hey, let them know what's going on. When something's going to happen about this, we can't rest because these things are continuing to go down. And they see, and they're saying, you seeth all things, you're the Almighty, so you see these, why aren't you going to do it? But right here in 6, it says, thou seest what Azazel hath done, who have taught all unrighteousness on the earth, and revealed the eternal secrets were preserved in heaven, which men were striving to learn. So that is something that God had placed in place for something for us over time to figure out. But again, they supplanted God's, will and gave us all this information that, of course, automatically corrupted us. And, I kind of wonder, thinking about this, like, because they were given it, did that also, like that had to not only affect that time, but also we've talked about Nimrod and what he was up to. Like, of course, that information being out there so quick, 100% affected what was going on. Okay. Yep. So we kind of read through that. Let's go to 10. Right, and again, so this is their punishment, right? So nothing that Azazel, none of the other angels, nothing that they ask for their requests or for their children, none of them are going to go. They're all being put away. They're bound up. They're getting rid of after, they've seen their children destroy each other. And they're going to be dealt with at the end. And so beautiful. Okay, and just to finish this up, I love this ending to this, this group of chapters, because this is what the Father really wants. We dealt with all this stuff. We're gonna deal with this stuff again. We see it, creeping up into our into our world, but we know and we have faith in that truth. That prophetic, perfect idea that we know this is going to happen. And that is, one second. I'm going to read just this last part. And the truth and peace shall be associated together throughout all the days of the world and throughout all the generations of men. Right? He has those blessings stored up for us, and he is waiting to do it. And over our work and labor, guys, like we're not going to have some evil king that is coming and stealing our money. We're going to have a God that for the work and labor we do 10 times, the 1,000 times, whatever it is, we're going to be overflowing with milk and honey and all the in-betweens. And how beautiful is that? Sweet. So, that finishes up our reading of the Book of Enoch Part 2 for this time. Again, next week we will be reading, let me read it again. It's from episode 12 to episode 16, I believe. If you're interested in doing more, hearing more readings, and getting a little of my thoughts, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Things like subscriptions, likes, comments, all shares, all those things really do help push, in front of more people. And I know there's lots of other ways to do it. I could pay money, I could do things like that, and I'm not saying that's wrong or anything. Like, I just want to say that it's like, to me, doing it by this grassroots kind of movement, all the people that are scribed here are actually based people. They found it through one way or the other, and they have that same desire that I have, like the other panel members do, to diligently seek out those pieces of truth, because not only are there ones to be found, but the Father has given us each our own. And we have to be willing not only to search those pieces out that are out there in the world, but also in fellowship together, that we can share our pieces, even if they contradict sometimes, even if they seemingly don't fit, and they're two different pieces of the puzzle. That's part of the game. And I love quoting Psalms, but I'm going to paraphrase it a little bit. Iron sharpens iron as a man sharpens a man. Well, iron to sharpen iron, you literally need heat, friction, and to remove the material. So sometimes we got to disagree. We got to get into those conversations where we feel like one side doesn't add up and the other doesn't add up, and come and have those conversations, and see where the Spirit leads us. And the Father, where two or more are there in His name, right? He's with us. So, but without further ado, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed the episode. I hope y'all have a great rest of your week. And until next time, remember the ABBA loved you first. You have a good day, everybody.
It's your glory, conceal a mystery. You give us the honor to search a matter out. You raise up a standard